Well, hey! The double game week is finally here, where players not have one game, but two! So let's find the best ones. It's the Double Gameweek 19 players to watch. This is the series where I usually just go on a bit of an online shopping adventure, looking at the best FPL players for you to whap into your teams. But this week is just a little different, built different, man, where I'm actually just going to suggest the best double game week players and no other players from each of the different price brackets, so you can be super prepared to secure those 100 points this week. But before we get into that, let's talk about the sponsor for today, OneFootball. OneFootball is the all-in-one football app that every football fan will enjoy. It's got all of the best features, including keeping you up to date with all of the latest football news from around the world, which is very handy right now during the transfer window. And you can also check out all the leagues to see how the teams are doing, like the Premier League, where you can also use it to help you with FPL, like I do myself, by checking out players, see how they've been doing, filter by different competitions, and all of that great stuff. And also check out the best performing teams to see who you want to target and who you really want to stay away from. It's got everything you need. So if you like what you see, you can click on the link at the top of the video description to download for free today. That's OneFootball, free to get right now. So now, onto the watch list, or more like the buy list this week, suggesting, in my opinion, the best players with the best fixtures in the Double Trouble game week. But starting here with the premium boys, the splash the cash fellas with these. In Mo Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, and Bruno. So these are the top premium boys for the teams that have the best double action, and I feel like could be the three most important players to have in this game week. The Egyptian god Mo Salah man has potentially two kind of tough fixtures, playing Man United and Burnley, but both of those are at home, where Liverpool have just been absolutely incredible at home, so could well put in a couple of spankings there. Then the Kev lad, De Bruyne, plays Palace and Villa, also both at home, where hey, if the double game week wasn't teasing enough for the best players in the league, they all have home fixtures. Get them in! Then we have Bruno, who unfortunately ruins the home streak, with both of his games being away to Liverpool and Fulham. But wouldn't it be a great coincidence if he actually usually performs better away from home anyway? Hey! But I myself, lads, will definitely have all three of these in my double game week squad 100% ready to go. But that may not be the case for you, where you might actually have the likes of a Son or a Kane in there in your team, and you can only have 2 or 3 of these really premium boys in your squad. So which ones do you go for? And my best piece of advice from Bacon Boy here today is just remember, it's not just about this game week. Like, make sure you look at the run of fixtures after the double, as you're probably getting in these players for potentially a good few amount of weeks, So don't just get in all the double game week players when you might not want to keep them in all and after, right? Where out of these guys, if you only have to pick 2 or 3, I would actually not choose Son or Kane right now, especially saying they don't have a double. But them and Salah actually have the worst run of fixtures after as well, so might not be good to keep long term. But then again, it's Son and Kane. They've been doing pretty damn well, so we have some thinking to do. Where in my team, I actually have Salah, De Bruyne, Bruno and Son. Perfecto mundo. But with the next bracket to look at being the mid-range boys, which is actually quite a difficult price range, as you're probably more focusing on the expensive geezers in the double, or maybe just the budgeters, if you want a bench boost or get a good playing squad go in. But players like Zaha, Neto and potentially Grealish won't have a double, but are quite highly owned, so I'm going for players around their price range, which could be very good this week. With the mid-range fellas being these, with Pulisic, who could also be Ziyech, Maddison, who could also be Harvey Barnes. Oh, it's an equaliser. And also Bowen, who could also be a Benrahma, a Lanzini, a Fornals, an Antonio. Bloody, just chuck in David Moyes at this point, all the West Ham players. But Chelsea play Fulham and Leicester. Definite potential for some points there. And maybe it could actually be time to get one of the defenders in that we all just binned like 3 weeks ago, Then Leicester play Southampton and Chelsea. Not quite the best, but on the day, Brendan Rodgers' squads can really spin anyone's jaw and get the win, But then West Ham, oh boy, where they play Burnley and West Brom, both at home. Now that is actually sexual. Okay. But I actually think it's essential to get in at least one West Ham player and, potentially a triple up. It probably will work. But this brings up a good point with the doubles, where you see West Ham having much better fixtures than the rest, than like a Leicester, let's say. So does that mean you want to go fully out and go triple West Ham and not get any Leicester players in? Or even though Leicester have bad fixtures, would it be a good idea to still get in at least one player from them to spread it out? So do you go full balls to the wall or spread it all out? Which one is the right answer? And something like that, you can't quite tell until it's all over, but I will always usually suggest to spread it out a little bit, because can you imagine going triple out on West Ham and they all blank all in both games? That would be the big unlucky. But that's not to say don't target the good fixtures just in case they don't do well. It's more to say don't go fully out on the best fixtures and ignoring the kind of middle ones, when those ones could work out just as well in a double. So basically, just have a good balance and have enough spread out, so no matter what, you probably do quite well this game week. And maybe the best way to go is using the premium players to go for the good fixtures, and then just use the cheap boy players to just cover the worst ones, you know? Which coincidentally brings me to my next set of players. Ooh, the budget boys with these, where we have Soucek, Gondowan and Lookman joining us here. Where I have a point for them all before you judge my options, alright? Okay, wait a minute. Where Soucek not only has been doing pretty damn well, but is amazing value and has amazing double game week fixtures, and has amazing fixtures afterwards as well. So he is actually the perfect type of player you want to get in right now, as he can have a great double, but also you don't have to chuck him out your team immediately, so very good. Where a player like Lookman, even though he's a good player, that is nailed, and has scored a couple of goals this season, he's the perfect type of player that you probably don't want to get in the double. Where even though he's cheap, you probably don't want him for a long time after, and his double game week is basically not a double game week, as he has two very hard fixtures. So realistically, isn't really worth your time. So it's probably not the best of ideas to chuck in those types of players, but you never know, they could still work. But I would suggest to kind of avoid those ones, not even good enough for cover really. Where next we have Gondowan, a player that has been playing very well, and maybe he can keep it up, but there is always that slight doubt that you don't know if he will play because, you know, Pep, Man City, yeah, meaning he is always a rotation risk even when he's playing well probably. And that is definitely the type of player you really don't want to have in the double game week. As like maybe not Gondowan because he's playing quite well right now, but maybe like a Foden or a Lanzini type player. Ones that you know could do very well if they play both of their double game week fixtures. But it's that if you're worried about. They could play both, they could play none in both of them. You don't really want that, do you? Because think, if you have a double game week player that might not play, you basically have a single game week player probably. So best to stay away from those ones. As that would not be very epic, would it? But maybe the only thing you're looking for is some cheap boy defenders to maybe potentially fill up your squad, potentially if you want to bench boost, which I also might do myself. Where next I have these, with Soufal, James Justin and Lowton joining us here. Soufal being the main man you should go for, who not only has amazing fixtures, especially defensively, but defo good enough to keep long term anyway. Then James Justin, not the easiest of fixtures for him in the double, but he does also have great fixtures after, and he's also been playing very well recently. But there's always that question mark around him, where if he will be dropped when Pereira is back fit, that we still don't quite know. So, you know, there's that slight little bit of risk. And then Lowton is only here because he has a double and is cheap, where his double fixtures are also one of the worst fixtures, and his fixtures after that are one of the worst runs in the league for the entire season as well. But someone like that could actually be pretty good as long as they're cheap enough. As you know, he's only 4.4 million right now. Definitely cheap enough to keep on your bench, that you could potentially use for your bench boost and then not have to worry about at all. Just leave him on your bench for the rest of the season and it's good to go. And that is actually my final point to make in this video, where make sure you don't get in too many players that you don't want long term, or at least want for a couple of weeks. Where, you know, maybe like one Lowton or one Lookman is okay, but if you have a full squad of expensive playing players, you're going to have a massive bench headache for a good couple of weeks, and it's going to take you a good couple of weeks to sort out. And that would probably make the bench boost not even worth it, as it's probably hindering you for the next couple of weeks, you know? So maybe if you're doing something like a bench boost, you should probably only just settle for the very cheap players, so you are still very much ready to go in the next few game weeks. And that is it. So this watchy list was more of a suggestion list of potential players for this game week, but also more making points about the types of players you might want to get in or completely block out and avoid. Which, if you need reminding of all the points in this video, don't worry, I got you. Focus on the players with better doubles and better fixtures afterwards, as you might be stuck with them for quite a while. Don't choose rotation risky players, as you want them to play both games. Spread out your players and cover a few different double fixtures. You never know what's going to happen. And most importantly, make sure you have a plan moving forward, where if you're bringing in a full squad of playing players, make sure you know what you're going to do with them afterwards, so you're not stuck with them all and you're not absolutely discombobulated every week for the next 5 weeks. But that is all for today. Thanks for watching, and remember,
don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now. Don't let your memes be dreams.